children, this is Miss Uri, and we are going to deal with chapter 6, water resources today. Earth, we all know, it's known as the blue planet because 71% of the Earth's surface consists of water. Water that's present in the Earth's surface cannot be added or removed from the Earth's surface, but it can simply change its form from one state to another. Water that is present in different places of the Earth's surface, that is, on the Earth's surface, under the Earth's surface, as well as in the atmosphere. There is constant movement of the water in the atmosphere, and that movement, it is known as the hydrological cycle. Hydrological cycle, it not only cleanses the water, but it also replenishes the water. About 0.3% of the water is usable water. 99.7% is in the ocean in the form of salty water, soil, ice cap, and atmosphere. Water resources are of two types: surface water resources and groundwater resources. The water that is present on the surface of the earth and which is visible to us is known as the surface water resource. Groundwater resource means the water that is beneath the surface of the earth. Surface water resource is the water that is present on the earth. We all know that. This water are present on the ocean, rivers, streams, lakes, and reservoirs. It is of immense importance. It is of great importance to us. That is because surface water, it is easier for us to reach, and thus it has become a potable source of water. Amongst all the sources of surface water, river and stream is considered as the flowing surface water, and it constitutes of 80% of the water that is used on the daily basis. River obtains its water from two sources, that is groundwater and runoff. Water, as we already know, it is found beneath the surface of the earth. 98% of the earth's available fresh water is groundwater. It is 60 times as plentiful as the fresh water found in the surface like lakes and streams. Groundwater is of immense importance to us because it is a feeder to the streams. That means the groundwater provides water to the perennial rivers. The accumulation of the groundwater takes place via various places like the cracks on the surface of the earth, through the pores of the soil, and even if the bedrock has low porosity, it travels in the aquifer. Irrigation is the artificial provision of water. We all know that. And why do we need irrigation? India, we all know it's an agricultural country, and for the increase in the production of agricultural product, water is very important. This water is provided by, but if there is failure of rainfall, then artificial provision of water is to be done. Irrigation plays a very important role in Indian agriculture because uneven distribution of rainfall in the Indian continent. The average rainfall in India is around about 110 centimeters, but this rainfall, it is not equally distributed in all the places of India. For example, Assam and West Bengal receives rainfall of 150 to 250 centimeters, whereas places like Rajasthan receives rainfall of less than 25 centimeters. So for this reason, irrigation is very necessary. The seasonal rainfall that occurs in India is also one aspect as to why Indian agriculture is fully dependent on the irrigation, because the rainfall occurs in India for 4 months from June to September, but the agricultural activities takes place throughout the year. So for that reason, irrigation is necessary. India experiences a very dry winter, but agricultural activities are taking place in winter as well. So, in order to fulfill the need of water, irrigation is necessary. India receives uncertain and erratic rainfall. Sometimes the monsoon occurs very late and withdraws very early. So, India needs irrigation to compensate the deficiency of water that occurs because of the erratic nature of the monsoon. Crop requirement. Some crop requires more water than the others. So in that case, sufficient amount of water will have to be supplied by irrigational facilities. Some crop requires water during the maturing time. So water is provided via irrigation. In order to increase the production, higher yielding variety seeds are used in India. So higher yielding seeds require lots of water. For that reason also, irrigation is very necessary in India. To maximize production, India has huge population, but huge amount of uncultivated land is also present in India because of lack of water. To increase the production of the food grain, the uncultivated land will have to be cultivated. To feed the millions of population, uncultivated land can be utilized by providing water through irrigation. Nature of the soil. Some soil might be clay, some soil might be sandy. So, clay soil has the quality of higher moisture retention capacity and requires higher water, whereas sandy loam has lesser moisture retentive capacity and need frequent watering, so irrigation is necessary. There are various methods of irrigation, and the methods of irrigation depends upon the topography of a region, the amount of rainfall that is available, the availability of the surface water, the availability of groundwater, the type of soil, whether the soil is clayey or loamy soil, and the requirement of the crop as well. So, the method of irrigation can be divided into two types, primitive method and the modern method. Primitive method are the conventional methods where wells, tank and inundation canals, whereas modern method includes the wells, tube wells, perennial canals and sprinkler or drip irrigation. Wells. It is an age-old method of providing water for the agricultural purpose, drinking and all other household purposes. Well, actually it is a small hole that is dug on the surface of the earth to obtain water from the subsoil. There are various advantages of the well. It is very simple and cheap to be constructed in comparison to other forms of irrigation. It can be dug at any convenient place. It can be dug anywhere, wherever the person feel convenient. It can be used when there is necessity. Where necessity is arising, there it can be used. It has its share of disadvantages as well. Well can dry during the summer season, and when the soil needs water at that time, the well is dry. So it is not there when it is needed. It can water only a limited amount of land, normally 1 to 2 hectares of land. It is time consuming to irrigate the land via well irrigation, and the water, it is sometimes brackish, that means it's salty. So in those cases, well irrigation is not of advantageous kind. The water from the wells is lifted by various methods like the Persian wheel, the lever method, and the inclined plane. Areas where well irrigation is found is basically areas where sufficient groundwater is available. And not only that, the level of the water should not be very deep. The soil should be very soft to allow digging of the wells. And it is basically concentrated in UP, Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra. Tank irrigation. Irrigation that is done by constructing an earthen or masonry walls across a stream or a depression, that is known as the tank irrigation. And sometimes a narrow channel is also built so that the water is directed towards the cultivated fields. Rainwater during the rainy season gets collected here in the tank that has been constructed, and it is used when it is needed. That's basically during the dry season. So the conditions that are applicable for the construction of the tank irrigation are: the ground below the tank should be rocky to prevent percolation of the water. Tank irrigation is very prominently seen in the Deccan Peninsula region. That's because of the following reason. Hard rock underlying large area does not allow percolation of the water, meaning since Deccan Plateau region has an igneous rock, which is a very hard kind of rock, so those rock does not allow percolation or seeping of the water to the lower level. Second one is the undulating surface forms the natural depression. So the Deccan Peninsula region, it is basically an undulating region. So those undulating surface, it forms or it acts as a depression for the construction of the tanks. Rivers in the Deccan Plateau region receives rainfall during the rainy season, but dries up when rainy season ceases. So tank helps in storage of water. Tank also help in raising the underground water level for the wells of the surrounding area. So the water table increases to a great extent and of the surrounding area. And next one is, in some villages, it is the only source of water for domestic purpose. They do not have any other water resources. Disadvantages: it occupies a large surface area. The land area which can otherwise be utilized for cultivational purpose is basically used for the construction of the tanks. Second one, tank dries up during the dry season. Whenever the water requirement of water is to a great extent, at that time the tank, it dries up, and so that's because it has a large surface area which is exposed, so obviously evaporation takes place and the tank dries up. And the third one is silting or accumulation of silt is also one of the major problems of the tank irrigation. Inundation canals. These canals are floodwater canals and have water in them throughout the year. They have the water throughout the year, and whenever the river is flooded, especially during the rainy season, at that time the canal it provides the water to the agricultural field. There's no regulating system at all, or where is not there, or where at the head of the canal. So this canal, they have very limited use. That is why nowadays this inundation canals are being converted into a perennial canal. Dear children, this much for today. I'll be uploading the next portion in few days. Please go through the chapter. Hope you all are doing your project. If you have any kind of queries, please feel free to WhatsApp me. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.